Welcome back to the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. It's Pat. I'm here for a solo show, a special little solo show that I'm doing on my own. You'll notice there was no AEW review this week because Joey and myself, mainly me, just because I'm the one who mainly does them, we were both at Dynamite this week in Philadelphia, so we did not record, as we tend not to whenever we go to live shows. But it was a fun time. It always is, really. When we go, we've been to all the Philly shows. We went to Arthur Ashe last year for Grand Slam. We went to Newark for the TBS debut, where we got to see Danielson versus Page 2 and Jade become the TBS champion. And then we also went to the Atlantic City show, which saw the debut of Keith Lee and Jay White in AEW. So pretty cool. But it's always a fun time, and I'll always recommend if AEW comes to your town, you should go check it out. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today is a special little show I'm doing because Wrestling Dontaku is this weekend, the big stadium show for New Japan. It has a pretty big lineup, so I figured I would, sit down, cut out some time on my Friday morning, and I'd record a little preview of the show, my own little predictions. This isn't for our predictions championship. I don't have that. That would be Angelo, who won the predictions challenge last weekend for Impact Rebellion pay-per-view, which saw New Japan's own Tomohiro Ishii beat Jonah, somebody who's been appearing on New Japan Strong, and he will now be challenging Josh Alexander next weekend at Impact's Under Siege Impact Plus event for the Impact World Championship. So pretty cool if you're an Ishii fan. Also, before we move on to actual Dontaku, this last night, I guess, on Impact, there was a tease from Rocky Romero, who appeared to confront Ace Austin, the new X Division champion. And it was implied that Ace Austin could find his way into this year's Best of the Super Juniors tournament, which is pretty cool. I'd be very down for that. I think Best of the Super Juniors is typically a fun tournament, but it's felt stale the past 2 years, mainly just because of COVID, so there haven't been many fresh faces. So I'm hoping that this year they can change it up. You could also see some entrants from AEW make their way into the tournament. But you might not. Forbidden Door's coming up, so they might want that to be the first real crossover. And then they could announce people for the G1 during that show. And that would be the first AEW move in Japan, which I think there's some credence to that. But we'll see. If there were some people from AEW to go into Best of the Super Juniors, I think you'd be looking at the likes of Wheeler Yuta. He'd be a good pick. Lee Moriarty. And maybe a Dante Martin. I think those would be guys that would make a lot of sense in that tournament. But we're going to talk about Wrestling Dontaku today. It probably won't be too long of an episode just because it's just me. So there's no one to have an actual, back and forth conversation with besides myself. But if you're new to the podcast, please consider subscribing. Whether you're listening on a streaming service like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast, Anchor, Spotify, whatever it may be, if you hit the subscribe button, we greatly appreciate it. You can also leave a rating if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That helps us with the algorithm. And if you're listening on YouTube, please also subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. We've seen some movement in our subscribers going up, so it's pretty nice. A month ago, we hit 100 subscribers, so that's kind of cool. Also, leave a like and comment your own thoughts on Wrestling Dontaku. Let me know what match you're looking forward to the most, and leave your own predictions. Who do you think is going to be the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion coming out of the show? Or who do you want to see in Best of the Super Juniors? Just comment something. It shows you're listening, and, it's just nice to have that interaction. So, yeah. All right, I guess we can just get into this. So I have the card in front of me, and we're just going to walk a nice little pace through this card. So our first match is a match that was changed. It's a six-man match. It was supposed to be LIJ represented by Shingo Takagi and Bushi, with Tatsumi Fujinami, who has been pulled due to COVID. He's one of our 2 COVID pulls. And they're facing off against Suzuki-gun, which is represented by Zack Sabre Jr., Taka Michinoku, and Taichi. I haven't heard anything on who the mystery opponent's going to be. I haven't seen rumors or anything, so I guess this could really be anybody. I don't have a guess on this one. It's a stadium show, so I would assume that they're going to try and make this somebody big, but I don't know. I am going to go for the team of LIJ and the mystery opponent, just because it's Shingo, and their team does not have Taka Michinoku, who is most likely just going to eat a pin here. But I guess it also depends on who the mystery person is. If it's like somebody big, then obviously the odds go up in their favor. If it's somebody that doesn't really matter, then they could also take the pin. So, but I'm going to go with Shingo and Bushi and their mystery partner here. And yeah, that's the opening match. I don't really think there's much to it. It should be a nice little match, though. Again, depending on who this third person is. If it's another old person, maybe not, but we'll see. Then we go on to a special singles match here that was just added to the card. Yo takes on Hiromu Takahashi, and the story of this match is that Yo has never beaten Hiromu post-excursion. He has a singles record of 0-4 against Hiromu. So can he break that streak? I don't know. I'd say he has the advantage of Hiromu not being the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion currently, because I don't really see a world where Yo is at the level of holding that belt yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a little shock upset here for Yo and give him a big moment to try and elevate him. Hiromu's a guy who he's made. You can instantly put him in a title match. So if he loses to Yo, I don't think he gets hurt. So I'm gonna go with Yo. I'm feeling optimistic on this one. I like Yo. I do think Sho is the better talent between the two, but I also don't really care about Sho currently. I'm just not into the House of Torture. I feel like I've been adamant about that anytime we've talked about New Japan. I do think Sho, when he initially turned heel and joined the House of Torture, I did like it, but I don't know, my mileage varies on him. I'll be interested to see if he can, win me back over in the Best of the Super Juniors this year. But as of now, I guess I am a Yo stan. So we'll go with Yo. We'll have Yo beat Hiromu here, and that could give him some huge momentum heading into the Best of Super Juniors, I think, where it would also, set up a story for Hiromu to either have to get his win back over Yo in the tournament, or, have to work up on building himself back up after losing to a guy who's never beaten him before in singles matches. So we'll see, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. This is, again, a last minute addition, but I think that this should be good. This should be quite good, especially considering what our next match is, if we're being perfectly honest here, which I don't know how many people are actually looking forward to. And that next match is another singles match here. We have Yujiro Takahashi taking on Tangaloa. Obviously, this is the ongoing feud between Bullet Club, House of Torture, and the Guerrillas of Destiny. These two met in the G1 last year. I don't remember the match. I'm going to be honest with you. But Tanga Loa did win, so he is 1-0 against Yujiro. Who do I think will win this match? I think Tanga Loa should win this match, but I can easily see them giving the victory to Yujiro. I don't think either guy really needs it. This seems like a pretty nothing match on paper. I'm going to be honest. I went with the two baby faces to kick things off, so I'll go with Yujiro Takahashi sneaking his way to a victory here. I would assume through nefarious means from the Bullet Club. Maybe Dick Togo. Who knows? Or Peter if she's there. But I'm going to go with Yujiro Takahashi to beat Tanga Loa at Wrestling Dontaku. And then that will lead us into the rest of the card where every match is a title match, I believe. So our first one up is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. We have Team 6 or 9, which is Master Wato and Taguchi, taking on Suzuki-gun, represented by Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Doki. So Team 6 or 9, they got the win. They became the 69th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. I don't know if I really care about them. I like Taguchi, and Wato has shown some signs of potential over the past few years. But comparing that team to the team of Kanemaru and Doki, Doki's been slept on. I feel like most people have come around on him in recent times. And Kanemaru, I genuinely think is a really great wrestler. So I'm gonna go with Suzuki-gun picking up the win here. I would be very happy to see Doki get the tag team titles here. I think he's deserving of it. I think he's put in a lot of work and has really shined over the last year and a half. And it's a new team to take the belts. It's not like it's Kanemaru and Desperado again. So I think Kanemaru and Doki picking up the win here and getting the tag titles would be a nice little surprise. Team 6 or 9 can eventually win them back if they really want to. Or Wato can turn on Taguchi if they wanted to turn Wato heel, which at this point I think is worth considering. Just, a shake-up for the guy. I don't know how many people are really huge Master Wato fans or if people still think he's a joke. But I just think he needs something, anything. And getting a fresh, coat of paint heading into the Best of the Super Juniors, not the worst idea if you ask me. But I'll go with Doki and Kanemaru. I think that would be a fun choice to put the IWGP Junior Tag titles on, especially since we do have Forbidden Door coming up. And we don't know who or what is actually going to go on this pay-per-view with AEW New Japan, but it depends on what direction you want to go. But if you had Kanemaru and Doki, facing off against a team of two junior heavyweights in AEW, or if there's just a big Suzuki-gun match, I just feel like those guys would put on a better match than Taguchi and Wato with somebody. So I don't know, but we'll see. But I'm gonna go with Kanemaru and Doki to win the belts. I like them, so yeah, they get my pick. This sends us into the heavyweight tag team match with the Great Okan and Jeff Cobb, our new champions here, after beating Goto and Yoshihashi, defending in a three-way against Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto and the dream team of Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. This is an interesting one on paper because a three-way tag team match, three-ways in general, you don't really see that often in New Japan. So the fact that they're doing one here is interesting, and it's also I feel like it's an interesting lineup because of Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale, who aren't this super established tag team who've been challenging for the belts or anything. I'm not against the team of Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. I don't necessarily think I like them either, but I am just looking at this tag scene and hoping that we get more teams either forming or more teams coming in through Impact or AEW. So, yeah, the fact that they got a new Bullet Club team in here with Owens and Fale, I don't hate that. Again, I like Chase Owens as a wrestler. Bad luck, Fale has his moments, but I don't see the titles changing here. They just got on Cobb and Great Khan, and I'd assume they're going to stay on them at least for a bit. In terms of who I could see taking it off them, I could definitely see them having Gallows and Anderson whenever they make their return to Japan, getting the belts off of Khan and Okada, honestly. I think that'd be a big moment. And for those unaware, Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers, they have actually turned it up quite a notch lately on Impact. It seems like they are very motivated again, which is quite good because they're honestly a pretty solid tag team when they do care. So it's nice to see that they do seem motivated and want to be considered a great tag team again. So whenever they do face off against Okan and Jeff Cobb, I'll be looking forward to it, honestly. So I'm going to go with them. And they did, somewhat face off at Windy City Riot with the big United Empire versus Bullet Club tag match. So I do think that there is some, there was enough there that I can see them going back to this down the line. So Good Brothers versus Cobb and Okan, I'd be looking forward to. And I could see the Good Brothers winning the belts there. But for now, I think Great Khan and Jeff Cobb have this, and the belts will remain with the United Empire. I guess my interest in this comes from seeing how Bad Luck, Fale, and Chase Owens work as a tag team. And Yoshihashi and Goto are great. We already know that. So this could be actually a really fun three-way match. But we'll see. This takes us to our Never Openweight Championship match with Evil defending against Tama Tonga. Oh, man. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't necessarily think Evil's losing his belt here to Tonga. I wouldn't mind Tama getting a singles belt here. I think he's been doing some great work since the G1. But I don't really see it going in his favor. I don't know who you have dethrone Evil, if I'm being honest. You could have him defend the belt, I guess, theoretically, at Forbidden Door and put it on, like an AEW guy just to freshen it up. But, fuck. I just don't care about Evil. I really don't. I'm going to go with Evil winning here. I don't think Tama Tonga beats him. I think this feud with House of Torture and Guerrilla's Destiny continues. But I don't know. I don't know who in New Japan I would say you have beat Evil for this. So that's why I think a cross-promotional match with Evil taking on somebody from AEW, I don't really have an issue with that. It's the Never belt. It's not like it's like the AEW guy is winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And if you have somebody take the Never belt off Evil, you can give, I don't know, you can have Scorpio Sky lose the TNT title to somebody from New Japan. Or you can give an ROH belt to somebody from New Japan. There's ways to do this. So, yeah. I say Evil wins here, to be honest. This is probably a match the one I'm looking... Out of the title matches, this is the one I'm looking forward to the least. I'll say that. And then we go to El Desperado versus Taiji Ishimori for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. These two have met before for the championship, and Desperado has beaten Ishimori. We saw the debut of Francesco Akira last month, or whenever the last big New Japan show was. He showed up after the match as a new debut and member of the United Empire, and basically said that he'll see these guys in the Best of Super Juniors. So I would assume he's their next big project for the junior division. So I don't know if I really see Taiji Ishimori as a threat here. But you never know. I didn't think Robbie Eagles was going to win the belt last year, and that happened. So I guess you never know. But I'm going to go with Desperado here. I'm just going to go with my gut. I think they're really high on Desperado. And I think another retention here as he heads into Best of the Super Juniors isn't the worst idea. I could see whoever wins Best of the Super Juniors, whether it's Akira or really anybody, honestly. I could see whoever they go with to win the tournament being the one to dethrone Desperado, because I don't know how long his reign actually is going to be, but I think he beats Ishimori here. I feel like that's one I'm kind of confident on in terms of actual predictions for this. But again, you never know. They could always do a shock victory here with Taiji Ishimori besting Desperado and becoming champion once again. But I'm going to go with our Suzuki-gun god, the El Desperado. Not the El Desperado, that doesn't make sense. But El Desperado is my pick. We have the IWGP, the vacant IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship match. This was supposed to be Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Will Osprey after Sonata vacated the belt. These two are going to meet here to crown a new champion. That is not happening because Will Osprey is another one that got taken out of the card because of COVID. So we have Tanahashi, and he's now facing off against Tomohiro Ishii, somebody who has been wrestling in the U.S. a bunch. So I do think that they did a smart thing by putting a guy who has been featured in the U.S. both on Impact, AEW, and New Japan Strong with Ishii. So I do like that they did that. It's not like they just chose somebody random who doesn't make sense here. That being said, I do think Tanahashi wins. I think Tanahashi was going to win this regardless, to be honest. I just feel like we know that he's facing off against Moxley. Although I don't think it's been made official. I think it was just Moxley laid down the challenge. But that he's supposed to be facing off against Moxley at Capital Collision. So I'd assume, putting the belt on Tanahashi, that would make it an IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship match. Be interesting to see who wins that one, because I could see New Japan just immediately putting the belt back on Moxley. I would hope not. I love Moxley, but why would we need to immediately put this back on him? Just let Tanahashi wrestle in the U.S. occasionally. That's fine. If you really needed to, you could have Tanahashi drop it at Forbidden Door ahead of the G1, but I don't want that. I haven't, again, we haven't done a podcast since Forbidden Door has been announced, at least for AEW. So we haven't talked about it, but what I would like from Tanahashi is something that they really couldn't do anytime else, I guess, unless they, did another one of these in Japan, which it does seem like they will. But I think Tanahashi being involved with Sting on the show would be really special. And Sting hasn't had a singles match yet. I don't know if he ever will in AEW. So I don't necessarily want to see Tanahashi versus Sting in a singles match, but I do think doing a tag match where it's like Tanahashi and Shota Umino or one of the Young Lions taking on Sting and Darby Allin, I think that would be really cool. And I do think Sting and Darby would win if it was Tanahashi and a Young Lion. If it's not Tanahashi and a Young Lion, it's I don't know, Tanahashi and somebody who's established, then, it'd be up for debate. But if it's, I just think seeing Tanahashi and Sting in the same ring, I think would be really special and a really cool thing that would make this Forbidden Door feel even bigger, that we'd be getting to see these two guys wrestle each other. So I don't necessarily need a United States Championship defense on that show. I think there probably will be, but I would prefer if it was Tanahashi and Sting getting involved with each other. Or Tanahashi and, some of the other names that, people want to see him against, like Danielson, Punk, Hangman. I will say this, if Hangman loses at Double or Nothing and he is beltless going into Forbidden Door, Tanahashi versus Hangman, either for the IWGP title or them tagging together or something, that is something I would like to see just because of the long-term implications with Tanahashi being very high on Adam Page. So I will say that. But we'll talk about Forbidden Door as it gets closer. We got to get through Dontaku and we got to get through Double or Nothing before we can really start getting into the nitty-gritty with that show. So we still have pretty much all of May to talk about. We have the Best of the Super Juniors coming up. We have the Owen Hart tournament coming up. Again, then Double or Nothing. And then we have Forbidden Door. Though I wouldn't be shocked if they announce stuff or start announcing names maybe for Forbidden Door sometime during May just to try and get the ball rolling, depending on how ticket sales are. If they are immediately like this super hot ticket, then I don't necessarily think that they would need to really announce too much ahead of time, but we'll see. It's up in the air. But this is a long-winded rant on this one, but I'm gonna go with Hiroshi Tanahashi winning the IWGP US Championship. I just think it makes sense. One final note on this: I did look after recording, but tickets for Forbidden Door do go on sale on May 6th, so that's a week from now. The same day that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness releases. So big day. And with that being a Rampage, I don't think it's a live Rampage, but I could be wrong. I could see them announcing something for Forbidden Door there, just to really try and get the hype going. But again, I don't know what exactly you announce, because you don't want to announce something like too soon. So you could just announce Okada's going to be at Forbidden Door, which would be a genuinely big deal. But we'll see. But so Friday, May 6th, AEW New Japan's Forbidden Door, live from Chicago on June 26th. Tickets go on sale for that. And that sends us to our main event, which is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. We have Kazuchika Okada for the second time defending against Tetsuya Naito this year. They met after Wrestle Kingdom earlier in the year. And now they're meeting once again for the title. They have also met elsewhere in the New Japan Cup, and so the series is 1-1 this year. Okada retained over Naito earlier in the year. Naito then beat Okada in the New Japan Cup, so they're 1-1. So this is, I guess, basically the rubber match for this year between these two. And it makes sense. This is a big stadium show, so this is the biggest match that they could do on paper. I guess you could have argued that, doing Osprey and Okada would have been up there again, or Okada Tanahashi, but Tanahashi and Osprey were both figured into the U.S. title picture, and then Osprey got taken off the show, so that leaves you with Naito. So it makes sense to me. This one is genuinely up in the air for me. I can see different arguments as to why Naito should win this. The man's been pretty open that he is, in the latter portion of his career, and he will be retiring sooner rather than later, or at least will take a less full-time role. So if you're going to give Naito another world title run, I think, the argument could be made that doing it now rather than waiting makes the most sense. At the same time, you are going into this Forbidden Door pay-per-view really does change things. Where, if this show wasn't announced, I would say, yeah, put the title on Naito, but and this isn't a knock on Naito, but having Okada walk into Forbidden Door as champion, and something I do think that should happen is I do think you probably should have Okada defend, and I think you should, or whoever, Okada or Naito, whoever's the champ here, defend, and whoever is the champ after Double or Nothing, Punk or Hangman, I think should defend. I don't think either of those belts should change hands on the pay-per-view. I don't think an AEW person should win the IWGP World Championship, and I don't think a New Japan person should win the AEW World Championship right now. I don't see that being really the move. I think it would just be two solid cross-promotional defenses for everybody. So, that would be my thing. Alternatively, if you do put the title on Naito here, that frees up Okada, and a dream match for a lot of people is Okada versus CM Punk. If CM Punk beats Hangman, you could have Okada challenge for the AEW World Championship against CM Punk at Forbidden Door, and that would be one of the biggest matches of the year. Or alternatively, you have Punk challenge Okada for the IWGP title if Punk loses to Hangman. So again, there's a lot of just moving pieces here, and you really can't ignore them, because both of these companies are going to want to put on the biggest matches. Well, not necessarily the biggest matches, but they do want to put on a really big show here, I'd assume, to warrant people having to buy the pay-per-view, because it is a full pay-per-view. It's not like it's a fight special like the New Japan ones where it's like $20. This is, for people in the US, this is on Bleacher Report, so it is going to be a $50 pay-per-view, and this is coming a month after Double or Nothing, so that's something AEW hasn't gone into yet, where they're having like back-to-back months with $50 pay-per-views. That's the really nice thing about AEW, is that, you know, it's 4 times a year you're putting out $50 to watch this. But now there's a 5th one, and it's this big show. And that's why I don't share the sentiment that some more pessimistic people have, that it's just going to be a rehash of the Noah show where it's just a bunch of tag matches. Yeah, I do think your undercard probably will have multi-mans and, you know, just some random tag matches. But I do think you're going to have some big singles matches, and I do think you're going to have title matches on the show. I don't think that they should do champion versus champion per se, at least for like your main titles. I think that would be kind of a waste. And I think it just wouldn't really do much to help the people who don't want to see either company, you know, look worse than the other. I think, you know, if you're booking the show and you want people to be hyped for it, you want them to come away satisfied, and you want them to come away wanting more, you split these. You have New Japan win some, you have AEW win some. Everybody goes home happy. But looking at Dontaku, again, before Forbidden Door was announced, when this match first got announced, I was on Naito's side. I thought Naito would kind of walk away with this one, and that you know, Okada doesn't need the belt. Like, I understand why they put it on him earlier this year, to kind of reset New Japan, coming into 2022, the 50th anniversary, and wanting just to have a big year as the COVID restrictions start to ease up. But that's, you know, that's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with Okada. I think Okada going into Forbidden Door with the belt is definitely bigger than Okada not having the belt. What you do with Naito at Forbidden Door, I think a lot of people want to see him interact with Andrade El Idolo. I would second that. I would also like to see that quite a bit. Whether it's a singles match, whether they're tagging together, I think that would be really fun, seeing them tag with each other. They could go against each other. Obviously, you have LIJ and you have AFO, but like, the star power is just very, you know, different there. So that's why I think Andrade teaming with Naito would probably be better. But yeah, I'll also be interested to see, like, if we get some of like these big New Japan names appearing on AEW TV in the lead up to Forbidden Door, either in just vignettes or if they appear on the show. I think it'll be interesting, or if they save all these appearances for the first time at Forbidden Door. But yeah, I am looking forward to this match again. It's Okada and Naito. It's a stadium show. The atmosphere should feel special. I don't think the crowds can make noise yet. I'm sure they'll probably break it for some big near falls like they have been recently, but I will say that is the one, like, you can be, you know, a New Japan fan who doesn't like AEW. I understand that, you know, AEW is not for everybody. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to trash anybody who doesn't like it, but it's pretty, like, when we get to Forbidden Door, it's going to feel wild getting to see some of these guys wrestle in front of such a raucous, like, Chicago crowd when we get to that event. Like, getting an Okada match in front of, like, a packed United Center that's just, like, crazy hype. Or like a Naito or Hiromu Takahashi or Shingo. Like, so many of these guys are going to get, like, it's just going to feel so special to see. Like, after going through, since 2020, we have not been able to hear the fans in New Japan like this. So, like, that's why I'm really looking forward to Forbidden Door, and I'm hoping that Japan eventually takes away this no crowd noise. Maybe for the G1, that'd be nice. So I'm very excited for Forbidden Door, and I'm actually really excited for Dontaku this Sunday. I think this card looks really good, pretty much from top to bottom. Like, the opening 6-man should be fun. Yo versus Hiromu should be fun. Don't really care about either of the Guerrillas of Destiny singles matches. The IWGP Junior Tag Title match could be fun. The 3-way dance for the heavyweight tag titles I'm interested in. Desperado versus Ishimori should be good. Ishii versus Tanahashi should be really good. And then Naito versus Okada. It's, you know what you're getting with these two. So, yeah. But I'm going to go with Kazuchika Okada to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. That is my final pick, and I'm going to stick with it. So, Wrestling Dontaku is on May 1st from the Fukuoka PayPay Dome. I don't know how much tickets have been sold or how big this crowd's going to be, but they're in a stadium setting. It should be a fun time. And I'm assuming we're also going to get some announcements for the Best of the Super Juniors, probably during the intermission during this show. So that'll be nice. And then, yeah, we'll move on to Best of Super Juniors, and then Forbidden Door, and then G1. So New Japan has a very busy schedule. And then if you're counting like the stuff in the U.S., you have Capital Collision on May 14th, I believe. And then I believe the day after, they're in Philadelphia for a set of tapings for New Japan Strong, which I have debated on going to, just to be able to see, some of these, because I forget who got announced for this. I think Tanahashi got announced. I don't know who else. New Japan, Philadelphia. This stuff I could do off the air, but, why not just take a peek here at who we can expect to see? Will Osprey, Jeff Cobb, Jay White, Tom Lawler, Fred Rosser, Chris Dickinson, David Finlay, Juice Robinson. Really, I thought Juice Robinson was done after April. I don't think that's correct. Hikuleo, Red Narita, Rocky Romero, Yuya Umara, Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks. I could have sworn that I saw Tanahashi get announced for this. Am I crazy? I could have sworn I saw a graphic that had Tanahashi on this, but on New Japan's website, it's like he's not there. Twitter, maybe. This seems. I'm like having a total brain fart here. Now I feel. Now I'm confused. New Japan. New Japan of America. Okay, so Capital Collision, Okada's going to be on that show. I didn't realize that. The people advertised for that are Minoru Suzuki, Jay White, Jon Moxley, Okada, Ishii, Jeff Cobb, Tanahashi, and Osprey. And we do know that we are getting a match I'm actually very much looking forward to on that one, which is Eddie Kingston versus Tomohiro Ishii. That's going to be... That match, just going to say, that match is going to fuck. That looks really good. Okay, 2,300 arena shows at Collision in Philadelphia. Yuya Uemura versus Killer Cross. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, Tanahashi, Ishii, and Minoru Suzuki are also announced for the Philadelphia show. Do they have matches yet, or no? Let's see if I can find these and if they look good. I hope they're also facing Killer Cross, just because everybody needs to face Killer Cross, the GOAT wrestler. Carl Fredericks versus AEW's QT Marshall. Oh boy, I hope Carl Fredericks wins that match. Okay, so that's another match here. I'm literally just scrolling down through their Twitter to see. Alex Coughlin, Kevin Knight, and the DKC versus J.R. Kratos, Royce Isaacs, and Jarrell Nelson. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Chris Dickinson, Minoru Suzuki versus Tony Deppen, and yeah, so those are the matches that seem to be announced for Collision in Philadelphia. So we got more. Brody King versus Brody King versus Jake Something, and David Finlay versus Danny Limelight. Okay, yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping to see Jake Something do more New Japan Strong. I like Jake Something, and I'm hoping that he lands on his feet after leaving Impact. I think he's a really good talent, so I think New Japan should take a peek at him, or AEW. I just hope he doesn't go to like NXT. But yeah, okay, so that is my preview show for Wrestling Dontaku. Again, the show is on May the 1st, so that's this Sunday. So yeah, if you listen to the whole show, remember, leave a little like on the video on YouTube, rate us on Spotify or Apple, leave a comment on YouTube, subscribe to us either on YouTube or wherever you're listening on the podcast. You can follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling without the G. Just type in Deep Six Wrestling on Twitter and you'll find us. And yeah, so thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.